I'm writing from the perspective of a corpse. I've got to get my headspace right. I always feel so at peace in the desert. It's so still. It reminds me how big the world is and how small I am in comparison. He really doesn't like snakes. Good morning. It's been a minute since we did a vlog. I've been focusing more on some talking head videos. But the vlogs are not gone. And today we are going to go to the desert just to do a little bit of grounding. It's a place that's pretty special to me, and I've been very busy lately. I just like to go every spring. I don't know, when things start getting lighter and everything, I like to go out to the desert for an annual, I guess, journey to myself. So that is what we're going to do today. But first, I'm going to make myself a matcha, heat myself up a quiche, and take care of Miss Bronte. I made this quiche a couple days ago and froze the leftover slices. It's got broccoli, cheddar cheese, and veggie bacon bits. Most mornings, I do my social media posts and scrolling while I eat breakfast. But since this is kind of a reset day, I made sure my planner was up to date instead. I also started reading a personal development book a friend gave me about letting go of the past. My writing routine right now is about an hour after breakfast every single day. That way, no matter what I have going on for the day, writing does not get forgotten. I definitely don't believe that you have to write every single day to be a writer, but this routine has been working for me right now just because my schedule is so varied otherwise. I don't know if I've spoken about it yet here on my long form videos, but I am currently on draft 2 of book 3 in the Snow and Rose series, and it's a little intense. I'm writing from the perspective of a corpse, and it is very dark and psychological, I guess you could say. There's a lot of like facing inner demons and stuff. So it's a lot. I'm about a third way through the draft. I've been pretty diligent in writing almost every morning. I put the playlist I use as my outline on every morning after breakfast and just sit down and write for about, I think the playlist is 55 minutes long. So I kind of use that as a timer, and it also gets me in the mood to write before I head out to work. And I like how it's coming along, but yeah, I gotta get into some interesting headspaces to make it work, or to get the writing out, which is part of why I kind of need a little bit of a grounding day today. In general, I have a lot on my plate right now. I have another book event coming up to do vending again at the Weird Beer Company, and I'm gonna do that one mostly on my own. My partner will be at work, and I haven't done one on my own yet. So that's a little nerve-wracking because I won't have him there to do like half the talking for me. I have to actually speak myself. So that'll be exciting because I know I'll be able to do it even if I don't do a great job the first time. But nerve-wracking. So I've got to get my headspace right. And in general, I've just been pretty busy. I started doing some dog training in addition to dog walking and pet sitting. Um, so I'm kind of like working on my very first case. Is it called a case? But yeah, I've been helping to train some dogs and kind of get that experience solidified after I, you know, finished the courses and everything and worked with Bronte. So that's been exciting, but again, new challenges. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been posting weekly here on YouTube right now. I have kind of a little bit of a challenge that I made for myself for a couple of months to post every week, which has been exciting. It's been fun. I've switched up the format a little bit and done more like talking head videos and really enjoying doing like some full deep dive discussions, which has been a lot of fun. I think I still enjoy the vlogs. The vlogs aren't going anywhere. You'll still see them every month or so, but I feel like my confidence on camera has built up a little bit so that I feel more comfortable, I guess, trying to remember a script. Not that I script the videos strictly, I outline them and kind of like have an idea of what I want to say. But vlogs, I can be a little more rambly, they're a little more off the cuff. They're not really planned out. They kind of just develop as they come, but I feel more comfortable enough to kind of like craft more of a thought out planned video, and I've been enjoying making more of those. So you'll see a bit of both. You'll see a bit of both. But again, changes, more things to do, new challenges. So just another reason that I need kind of a little bit of a reset day, a little bit of a grounding day, some me time, some time with the earth. And yeah, I'm really excited. But first, I need to go and walk some dogs because no, it is not my day off. I don't get those. I'm exaggerating. Every once in a while I do, but they really are like once a month, maybe twice a month. Most days I'd have at least a couple of walks, which I mean, I still have the best job in the world. I get to hang out with dogs all day, and very often the workday ends up being like a half day. So I'm only going to 4 or 5 walks. Today I only have 3. And then the rest of the day I have to work on other projects and stuff. So I'm not complaining, but it it is true that I rarely get a full day off. Even holidays, I usually have just a couple of walks at least. Yeah, not complaining. I still have a wonderful, wonderful job where I get to love on dogs and make sure that they have everything they need, and it's very special. I'm gonna head out and take care of some puppas, and I'll see you soon. And we will head out to the desert together.
I don't have my microphone, so hopefully you can still hear me. Walks with puppas went well. They are all doing great. Listen to some fun YouTube videos. Most of my YouTube consumption is actually like listened to rather than watched, because I listen while I'm out walking dogs, which is very nice. It's very pleasant. Um, that's also why I always try to describe things in my vlogs, anything that's visual, because I know I'm not the only person who does that and listens to YouTube like it's a podcast. So, yeah, I'm back at home. I'm going to go in and pick up the partner. We're going to get lunch and we'll head out to the desert for some nice, calm, grounding time in nature, and it's going to be so nice.
Some snacks for the road. Even the drive out there feels so calming and familiar. We drove all the way out to El Centro for lunch because I wanted a special quesadilla, which is just a quesadilla that's been deep fried. And El Centro is the only place I know of
You
that
don't like
has
needles?
them. I went to El Centro a lot when I was a kid because we had family there, and I was really leaning hard into the nostalgia. I also had a Dos Equis
Cheers.
because that was my dad's favorite beer, and I like to drink them from time to time in his honor.
Equated to like, I will live longer than an entire ant colony. I will live longer than all of my pets. Like, that does not make me unique or special. Fractions, never wholes. And so, like, that's kind of the downside, is that, like, I do feel that, you know, my struggles are also my responsibility and my fault.
When I was around 9 or 10, my dad took us out exploring in the desert. At the time, I rode through the desert a lot on the way to visit family in El Centro, and I thought it was just a dead place that was boring and long and too hot. I preferred hiking in the mountains where there were trees, but my family was exploring in the desert, so that's what I did too. But instead of the desolation I expected, I found wildflowers, critters, mica, and other beautiful minerals. The desert had its own habitat, and I had a blast exploring it. I just needed to slow down and pay more attention to my surroundings to find it. It was one of the first major perspective shifts that I can remember. And it taught me to really look more closely at things before jumping to conclusions. It's one of my favorite memories of finding beauty in something that I thought was dead and something that I thought had no value. It is so inspiring to see life thriving in such a harsh terrain. I always feel so at peace in the desert. It's so still. It reminds me how big the world is and how small I am in comparison. It makes me feel like a part of nature, something bigger and much more infinite than myself or human civilization. The terrain stretches out in every direction, making the worries of my little everyday life seem so insignificant. And I find peace in that feeling. Even the gentle rhythmic crunch of my feet against the sand is soothing. I try to make my trip to the desert every year. Here's a poem I wrote last year when I made the trip. Desert bloom. Sand sifts outside of time. A childhood discarded clings between my toes, filtering into the foundation of being. Stillness bubbles inside, resilient, like a volcano that never erupted. Desert blooms hide among the stones, cluttering the wilderness with whispers of color, wrapped in the soothing dance of the brush, tumbling with the wind. The earth flows, sifting beneath each step. With a gentle hiss of comfort, I stand in a wasteland full of wonder, caught inside my past as it permeates the new. Memories taste dry like sage, sweltering in the heat of becoming.
You beat me. You were faster.
Being out in the desert with my partner was just what I needed to feel more grounded. When we first started dating, I asked him to take me out to the desert for my annual trip down memory lane, without realizing it was the same desert he had gotten lost in as a teenager. Not only did he take me anyways and face some pretty bad memories that he had about the place, but he also brought an old binder of angsty poetry he had written in high school to show me. His willingness to be vulnerable like that really showed me how much he cared. And this time he had to face his fears all over again because we ran into this terrifying beauty, and he really doesn't like snakes. To be honest, I was a little scared too.
Why don't you end?
We stood on top of a rock and cautiously waited for him to pass before continuing along the path. He was so long.
I hope not, because there's not a lot of other ways to go. Trust me, I've been plotting alternate courses, but now it's gone in the only other like easy way to traverse.
Passing the power generating windmills always makes me happy. They're such a great alternative source of energy. It's just the windmills and the sunset. It looks nice. When I leave the desert, I always feel a oneness with the world that makes me happy to be alive. I'm all sleepy now. Yeah, we had a really nice little trip, and then we went to a spot we used to go with my family, and we had a nice little hike, and now we're on our way home. Spider-Man's pumping gas right now, and we're gonna head home and maybe finish watching Alias Grace. I heard someone talking about it this week, and I suddenly wanted to rewatch it and show it to my partner, see what he thought of it. It is so good. It's so spooky, and like it's about topics that matter to me, and it's historical fiction, which I love. It's a little spooky, which I love. It feels very gothic. It's one of my favorite shows. So we're gonna head back, and I guess that's a wrap for today. It was a very therapeutic day. I feel much calmer and more grounded and more connected to the world, connected to myself, connected to the earth. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing to Ink Spills if you enjoy fairy tales, gothic literature, poetry, book recommendations, or writing.